Hey guys, back again here with another rapid fire style video. Today we're covering the umbilical cord and I have the internet's top 20 questions. I'm going to try to get through them in the next 5 minutes. Let's start the timer now. Is cutting the umbilical cord painful? Nope. No nerve endings on the umbilical cord. Is cutting the umbilical cord bad? So the umbilical cord really needs to be cut. The baby needs to be separated from the placenta, so no, not bad. What does cutting the umbilical cord feel like? So for the person cutting the umbilical cord, it feels kind of like cutting through a thick rubber band. How does cutting the umbilical cord work? So the person that is delivering the baby, catching the baby, will put 2 clamps on the cord, usually with about this much space in between, and then you cut right in between the 2 clamps. What are the reasons for delaying the cutting on the umbilical cord? So research recently has shown that there is benefits to the baby if you can delay the cutting of the cord. So the question is more about timing. Some people have found that 30 seconds is what they're recommending. Care providers, the American College of OBGYNs is usually saying between 1 and 3 minutes, but people have different opinions on that. But research has shown that there is a benefit to allowing a little bit of time after the baby is born before cutting the cord, which is different than how it used to be. Is cutting the cord really worth it? So sometimes I have partners really will ask, is it important to cut the cord? You know, a lot of times dads cut the cord, and whether it's worth it or not is really up to you. It really has no meaning on the birth or the baby. Is the umbilical cord, cutting the umbilical cord without clamping? So I wouldn't recommend that unless the cord has, it's been a long time since the birth, because when you clamp, that limits the amount of blood that comes out during the cutting process by clamping that blood flow. But if it has been a long time since the baby's been born, you really would need to clamp to prevent basically a mess from the blood. How to cut the umbilical cord for dummies. So it is really easy to cut the cord, especially if there are 2 clamps. It's kind of a no-brainer. What about cutting the cord candle? So there is something called a lotus birth that if you want more information, just Google lotus birth, and I can put a link down below for more information. But that's when people delay that process of cutting the cord for a long amount of time, like a day or more, so that the cord dries up. So that's keeping the baby and the placenta together, and then there is a candle that's used. Where is the cord connected to the mother? So the cord is not connected to the mother. That is a myth that a lot of people don't understand. The cord is between the baby and the placenta. What are your options for cutting the cord? So I would say kind of 2 options to think about when you're cutting the cord. First of all, who is going to be the one to cut it? And the other thing is if you would like a delay in the cutting. What are alternatives for cutting the cord? So I would say the main alternative for cutting the cord would be that lotus birth with the candle. So that would be putting a candle under the cord and burning it with the lotus birth. Though that is really not very common. Who should cut the cord? So that's totally up to you. People that have given birth can cut the cord. People that have supported a birth cut the cord. The care providers cut the cord. It really doesn't matter to your care provider. It really just matters. If it matters to you, you make the decision. What does cutting the umbilical cord symbolize? So that's also up to you. Some people find that there's a symbol that has special symbolism to them, and some people has no bearing or meaning at all. Where should I cut the cord? So you would cut the cord in between the 2 clamps with the care provider, but generally it's about this far-ish from the baby. Kind of depends on where the care provider puts the clamps. What about cutting the cord in an emergency? So in an emergency, it's really recommended not to cut the cord. That's not something that has to be done immediately. So if a true emergency, the main thing you want to do is keep the baby warm, and that should be your top priority. And thinking about the cord should be low priority, and you can wait until a healthcare provider gets there, 911 or EMTs, or you have a care provider show up. Does cutting the umbilical cord hurt the baby? Not at all. The baby, there are no nerve endings that lead to the baby, so the baby has no reaction to cutting the cord. When does the cord stop pulsating? So the cord pulsates after birth with the blood, and it stops pulsating generally between 1 and 10 minutes. It kind of varies, and if you're wondering if it's stopped pulsating, you can just gently touch it and feel if you can feel that pulsing, kind of like your pulse, whether it's pulsating or not. Tips for cutting the cord. I would say my main tip is before you give birth, figure out your options, who's gonna cut it and if you want it delayed so that you'll be ready when you give birth. And talk to your care providers about your preferences too. That's definitely a big tip. Is there a cord cutting video? I'm gonna put a little cord cutting video here if I have time. And if you guys like this rapid style video, I have a whole playlist of them so you can get your questions answered quickly, and the playlist is gonna be right here. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.